Joining us this morning is syndicated columnist Cal Thomas. Cal, good morning to you, sir. Thank you for being here.
Good morning. Nice to be with you.
All right, so what is your take on this ongoing feud between the president and the president-elect?
Well, this president is the most narcissistic president in my memory and maybe in history. He uses the personal pronoun so much. At one point, I thought the letter I was his first initial. It's all about him. It's all about his policies. He thinks he's Franklin Roosevelt. He could run for a third or fourth term, run forever. The fact is that before the election, some polls showed 70% of the American people believed the country was on the wrong track. And while he is still personally popular for reasons that are difficult to understand, his policies are not, whether it's the Middle East, economic policies, Obamacare, you name it. So I think that, I counted up, I think it was over 60 references to me and I during his last State of the Union address. I think Donald Trump was absolutely right. His policies have failed. People want a new track. They want change, and they're going to get it. And we'll see whether it's going to work out well or not.
Cal, it's Dagan McDowell. Cal, why can't one of these gentlemen rise above it, though? And because they can't seem to help themselves in terms of taking a shot. And by the way, Donald Trump likes to refer to himself in the third person, which is a little, which I've always in my life been suspicious of people who did that. So I'll leave it at that.
Only the Pope does that, and Jesse Jackson. Well, the Wall Street Journal editorial this morning uses the word 8th grade schoolyard boys fighting back and forth at each other with tweets and references. I agree with you. I think this is too important a time to get involved in these little tweets and back and forth.
But Cal, I mean, an important number to point out, the fact that that Barack Obama has not been great for his party, you could argue. Democrats lost over 1,000 seats under President Obama. I'm getting the number. The grand total, a net loss of 1,042 state and federal Democratic posts, including congressional and state legislative seats, governorships, and, of course, the presidency. I mean, that's a fact worth pointing out.
Well, it is indeed, and it ought to be more about who's up and who's down and who won the last election, who can win the next one, who's in power and who isn't. People are fed up with this, and both the left and the right. This is one of the reasons on the left that Bernie Sanders did so well in the Democratic primaries. People are sick of dysfunctional Washington, and one of the attributes that Donald Trump brought to this campaign is we're going to fix things. We're actually going to make things better. So you've got Betsy DeVos, the incoming Secretary of Education, talking about school choice. We have choice in virtually every other area of life, from package delivery to supermarkets. People can make their own choices, but this is a 19th century model, the last monopoly in America, public education. He wants to break it up. You've got Ben Carson coming into the Housing and Urban Development Department. Here's a man with personal experience living in ghettos in the inner city who knows something about it. They want to fix the inner cities. You have Chicago, which is a shooting gallery. 43 people shot over the Christmas holidays, many of them dead. I mean, this can't go on, and this is what people want. They want change. They want real change. They want something that actually works. They want government working for them instead of us working for government.
Cal, I definitely agree with you on the point that you just made, but we cannot deny the fact that Barack Obama is a pretty likable guy. And I agree. If you look across the board, Democrats have continued to lose seats. That's because Barack Obama's not on the ballot. And so I don't think Barack Obama would have lost North Carolina. I don't think Barack Obama would have lost Wisconsin. But to your point, I think the country needs to move forward. We need to come together because the crisis that you just mentioned, particularly what's going on in our inner cities, we got people tweeting out violence to come to malls, and it's just, the country needs to move forward. We need to come together as one people finally and stop all this bickering, and it starts at the top.
I agree with that. I hope we see it.
Fair enough.
But you have the Democrats in Congress, although they lost, saying that they're going to be the party of no, and they're going to do, Cal, it's going to be an ugly confirmation process. I know it's 52-48 Republicans, Democrats in the Senate, and then Harry Reid did away, so it'll be just a straight vote on these confirmations. But they're promising to make it hell for these nominees.
Well, I think it'll be more like purgatory. I don't think it's going to last that long. When you got the votes, I mean, when you get the votes, and as you say, Harry Reid constructed this, did away with the filibuster for federal judges. Donald Trump is not only going to have his first opportunity to name a justice to the Supreme Court. If he lasts for 8 years, he could name 2 or 3 more and make this a conservative court, and not just the Supreme Court. There are over 100 judgeships now open on the federal benches around the country. President Obama has named many, many judges, but Donald Trump will have an opportunity to name many more. I think people are tired of the bickering and the back and forth. We have nearly a $20 trillion debt in this country. Clearly, Washington is dysfunctional. Things need to change. Let's just see if the Republicans can do it. They've got all 3 branches of government. There will be no excuse if they fail this time.
Caroline Gabriel here. You know, my real question is whether or not that was a clinical diagnosis of narcissism. I'll pass on that one and just bring up Donald Trump's charitable foundation. You know, New York prosecutors are trying to block him dissolving it. Foundation, you know, what's been talked about, $20,000, painting a portrait of Mr. Trump. That was one donation. Autographed helmet from Tim Tebow for $12,000. What do you make of how this is going to play into his presidency?
Well, as you know from following how the media treat Republicans and Democrats, there's a double standard here. The Clinton Foundation, of course, which received hundreds of millions of dollars, and both Bill and Hillary Clinton, before she became Secretary of State, were getting 6 figures for their speeches. I don't know about you, but that's an awful lot more than I get.
You're not the president or the president-elect.
These are from foreign donors. But the media, particularly the Washington Post and the New York Times, always talked about the good works that the Clinton Foundation was doing. Works to combat AIDS in Africa. Haiti, supposedly, which was doing so well. But if you read stories about Haiti, not all of that money from the Clinton Foundation trickled down to people in Haiti who really needed it. So it was all about good works for the Clinton Foundation. And, you know, I think there are problems with this, with the Tim Tebow helmet and with the Donald Trump portrait. And, you know, I think it's good that he's going to end this.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be tough for him to avoid those criticisms of conflict of interest, for sure.
He says, I want to shut it down, and the AG's getting in the way of me shutting it down.
All right. Cal Thomas, thank you for being here this morning. Good to have you.
My pleasure. Good to be with you.